Okay, hi everyone. Welcome back to my channel. Today I have Ravana Nun with me. Welcome, Ravana.
Thank you.
Thank you
Greetings.
so much for coming. Um, just so my viewers know who you are, because a lot of them don't know who you are, do you want to just briefly tell everybody who you are and where they can find you and all that fun stuff?
Sure. Um, you can find me on my social media contact is on Instagram, the Eternal Black Flame. Also, I have a Patreon page where we conduct classes, where we have interaction as a social group of those walking the left hand path, a support group for each other, and just basically a group where we come together and discuss left hand path. But a lot of it is geared towards classes, self development, self growth, self mastery, and self deification. That's the name of that page is the Eternal Black Flame, which is on Patreon, and then my YouTube page is the Eternal Black Flame 666. Now, um, people call me Ravana Nun. That's what I've been known for. Let's see, for the last 10 years, 12 years. I've been a little background. I started my journey about 30 years ago. I was basically attracted to spirituality at an early age. It wasn't until I was about 16 or 17 where I remember hearing an old school hip hop song called "You Must Learn" by KRS-One, which at the time was Boogie Down Productions was the name of the crew. And then Rakim, in some of his music, he would drop some of the 5%er knowledge from the Nation of Gods and Earth. So that started basically my attraction to spirituality. And then from there, I was on the right hand path for a while. I did the Rosicrucians, I did Freemasonry, I did Sufism, I did a lot of the spiritual paths that are associated with the right hand path and religious systems. From there, I would say around the year 2009, 2010, the first book that brought me onto the left hand path was the book Sechem Pep by Michael W. Ford. That was the actual first book I even ever opened on the left hand path. And I was already journeying, I was already seeking because the right hand path was not answering a lot of my questions. There was a lot of religious belief, a lot of just a lot of things that like I refer to as fluffy things, and
Mm-hmm.
it's just too. It was like a Disney movie to me, and I just got tired of that. Everything was merged with oneness and love, everything, and that's not reality for me. That's not the reality of life for me because I always realized at an early age that you have to create things and make things happen in your life. You can't wait for things. So Sechem Pep kind of opened me up to the left hand path, Luciferianism. Although my Luciferian thought already had existed in some of the orders and organizations I had belonged to, there was an undertone of Luciferianism taught inside of it. It was not overt though, it was more covert, but it was Luciferianism that was taught in there. So that really brought me in to the left hand path. And then my walk in the left hand path, I began to go further in there, study more. But then I went and got initiated. And the reason why I did that is because like Michael W. Ford shares, like E.A. Koetting shares, like Asenath Mason shares, and a lot of other individuals who are authors of books on the left hand path. If you really want an understanding of the left hand path, you should be initiated, whether it's self initiation or it is just going through an order that or temple that initiates you within. As opposed to other paths, you don't really need that, but here you do. And there's a reason. The inner mysteries. In order to understand the inner mysteries, there's a lot of things that are not going to be revealed publicly. So
Mm-hmm.
that's kind of like my journey in a nutshell and who and what I am. Um, a little more, I'm from a Puerto Rican background. So my family's from the Caribbean. I was born in the Bronx, but raised in Hartford. And I was, growing up, I was into hip hop. Like that was my thing growing up. I was around African Bada, so I was a part of Universal Nation. And I just was like passionate about dancing. I was a dancer. So I was into
Woo!
breaking. Yes, I was into breaking. I was into other forms of hip hop dancing. And as well as that, I was into house music, deep house music, as well was running simultaneously. So I was into like some of the creative arts, creative expressions, and alternative thought processes, and some of the you know uh, dancing and different things I was involved with was led me to have more of an open mind.
Mhm.
So that's kind of myself in the background. Like I said, I studied Islam, not just read books. Like a lot of people tend to say, "Oh yeah, I did this." No, I did Islam from the inside out. Meaning, I did Salat, okay, which is prayer 5 times a day. Actuality, what I belong to, we did it 7 times a day. I studied the Hebraic school and went inside the Hebraic school and learned it from inside. Christianity, of course, well, a lot of us were raised in that nonsense, but I did it, studied it, lived it inside. And then I studied the mystical schools within those religious systems and learn more about that, like the ancient mystic order of Melchizedek and learning about the Merkaba and things of that nature. So I was really involved as opposed to people who love to read books. I took it further because one thing I realized, you can read all day and night, but if you don't practice the things you read, it's kind of a disservice because you're just having an enormous amount of knowledge, but you're not doing anything with it. And that's kind of a disservice to yourself when this knowledge becomes wisdom when you walk it and live it. That's when it becomes wisdom, gaining the experience through the knowledge you're learning by applying it in your life, you gain more wisdom. So that's
Yeah,
me in a nutshell.
I'm like the opposite. I'm like the type of person that just rather do the rituals and just have the experience before I do all the reading.
I hear you.
Like I live for the experience. I want the experience. I want it. I want it. I want it. But
True.
okay, so that's that's Ravana, and yeah, that's what I like about you. Like you're so real and you're so dope, and you say it how it is. Like you guys have to go check out his channel, and if you can join his classes. You have like 20 people sometimes in his classes, and it's just a great way to learn things. And he teaches things that you're not going to learn from books, you know. But today we're going to talk about this. Okay, your first book.
Yes.
uh, Now, for me, I just started reading this and doing the rituals a week and a half ago.
Okay.
And yeah, so I have some questions because, first of all, hold on. I want to show you my inspiration since I've been working. Oh. So I started to paint again.
Good.
You know, I started painting, and this is, guys, if you start working any system, I really suggest that you do paint or create sigils just to create that atmosphere wherever you're working because it is gateways. Like within a week, the experiences I've had with APEP and the Dark Gods is totally crazy. And I'm going to tell you my experiences, and then he's going to tell you what they are because I had to message him. Yeah, so this, the Val Kalasi, that's very powerful. I sleep with this. I sleep with this, and I focus on this. And it's only been a week since I've been doing. I'm almost done the book. I'm gonna start the tunnels of Set actually next week.
Mm-hmm.
You know, um, but just being in this vampire current and communicating with these spirits, I've come up with these paintings, all inspired by them. You know, that's sorry, my chair won't stop moving. Sorry, guys. So this is another powerful sigil that he makes. So yeah, I just wanted to show you guys
Nice.
some of my stuff. Another gateway to Seth APAP. And I have another one on my altar that I've been using, the Triad of Darkness, and I have my black mirror on there. And I've been working the black mirror like 3 times a day. Like they have me working within a week. I feel like I've been doing this a lot longer than a week just because of the results I've been getting. So let's talk about the vampire kiss that I received.
Okay, well,
Okay, so
the vampire kiss. There's certain rituals that you learn as you go further along the current. A lot of it is taught when you're in a coven or you're in an order and you're initiated, but there's times where you will receive actual messages and visuals of actually these certain rituals or techniques that we use as vampires. Why? Sometimes people connect to the current because it's naturally a part of them. So, for example, we hear of the undead gods, and in vampirism, people hear about the undead gods a lot. Well, here's what it is. The undead gods are not so much gods in the form of what we would consider traditional gods. The undead gods really were witches, sorcerers who reached apotheosis. They reached the level of apotheosis, and through their work and reaching that level of apotheosis, as they translated to the other side, they began to communicate to those individuals who are connected, whether unconsciously or consciously, the vampiric current. So they started to connect with certain individuals who are connected to this current, like I said, whether consciously or unconsciously, and they do reveal messages, they do reveal visualizations. I mean, through they show you certain visuals in your dreams, and certain events or things may happen that allow you to have some insight. The vampire kiss is one of them. I can't go too much because of the oaths and different things I've taken, but the vampire kiss is basically a technique that you are able to take in energy through the form of, let's say, like a kiss. And by taking in that energy, you're able to develop a source where this energy can be stored. I'll just say it like that. So therefore, if you in a dream actually go and encounter a situation where you see let's say a dark being or dark entity, and they kind of bring you into them and you kiss them,
I inhaled
yes.
them. Yeah, you guys I inhaled from this entity, guys. There was a dark shadow that came in my dream, and I thought it was a ghost, but I naturally reacted and grabbed it by its throat, and I put my lips on it, and I started to inhale its essence or whatever it was, and it was like a poisonous I can't even explain it. Like, I wouldn't say death, but like it was very smoky. Like it would almost like if I inhaled carbon monoxide in a way. That's how I would. And it happened 3 times. I did it 3 times, and I held it in, and then it changed forms into this tall black woman, and it proceeded to show me some things. You know, that's what happened.
Exactly. Yeah. And see, situations like that can occur. Those situations occur because, like, one, you're connected to that current, and the more you become conscious of it, the more you're opening yourself up to make contact with these undead gods. Therefore, when they communicate and share things with you, it's because you are a part of that current, and they're trying to bring you into this current even more, and that's a form of like an initiation. Okay. What happens is, as vampires, we devour life force energy. Some call it prana, some call it chi, will call it sechem, some will call it the ka. Whatever you want to call it, that's up to you. The point is, you're devouring pure life force essence. So, for example, in the pyramid text. The pharaoh menace.
Unas?
Sorry,
Yeah.
the pharaoh Unas
Yeah, it was God eating.
would devour the gods.
Mm-hmm.
Would devour the gods and feed off of their life force and become the gods. So each god that Unas devoured and absorbed their life essence and force, the powers, attributes, and characteristics associated with that god, or Natir, as it says in ancient Kemet, would become a part of Unas. Because Unas was in the journey that Unas was taken, it was an initiation, but it was a lot.
So he's considered an undead god because he.
Well, now he translated, but at that time,
okay.
when you read in the pyramid text, that's an initiation he's undertaken, and when he's going through that initiation, he's becoming the gods. Because see, in vampirism, as opposed to some other paths or currents, vampires really don't worship gods. Vampires are gods. That's the difference, as opposed to some other currents where everything is working with the gods and the gods do this, the gods do that. A vampire becomes a god because they are taking their natural birthright back as a god. And especially if you're a vampire, we look at ourselves as immortals, deified, self-deified beings. We're immortals. So you absorb a god, you don't so much, how should I say, not bow to a god, but become subordinate to a god. Unfortunately, some people still become subordinate to a god. And as a vampire, you are a god, so you are essentially absorbing the essence of those gods to become greater yourself.
Yeah.
Therefore, our whole mission is not just to feed, as people commonly mistake vampirism for, is to feed and absorb and devour life force. That's a part of it. Our main essence is to conquer ourselves, meaning to conquer our weaknesses, to conquer our issues, our programming, our trauma. And to overcome that, you would have to conquer yourself. You would have to devour those things about yourself that hold you back, that you keep repeating these behavioral patterns and they don't serve you. You would devour those things and transmute it into something greater, to become something greater. That's the essence of vampirism. So in a situation as yours, when you went through that and you experienced that kiss, it's essentially an undead god, let's say, communicating with you, sharing something with you, and trying to bring you into the current more by walking through there, by absorbing their essence. So therefore, you absorb the essence. It's like, I'm not just absorbing the essence of this god or this shadow entity that you experience. More so, you're becoming that. Because when you absorb their essence, it's the fact is you're becoming them.
Yeah.
And not so much just borrowing or taking from them. That is why it changed form. Because now it no longer retains that old form. It now changes form because you are now a god yourself, or becoming that god and becoming more aware of that reality.
That's how it was with me before. It was like testing me to see what I would do, and then when I did that, it's like, okay, you are one of us, let me show you something.
Yeah.
The thing, I have to ask you something too. This taste, I've tasted this before in my dreams before. I just wasn't aware of it. Like, I don't know if I've had the kiss. The kiss was never like that, but this is gonna maybe get a little graphic. I don't know. But in my astral realms, I have performed sexual acts on spirits or whatever they are, and I've had a foul taste to it. And I was like, am I feeding from something sexually? Is this
let me ask you this.
Energy that I'm taking? But I had a very foul taste to it. I don't know.
Was the taste kind of metallic? Almost like like decaying taste, a metallic decaying taste.
Decay and death.
That is a part of the work. That in itself means that you are bridging the gap between the veils, the living and the dead. You're bridging the gap, so you are now easing into that death current as well. Remember, it's death current because vampires are considered the living dead or the living immortal, and people call them the undead gods, right? But the reality is because we are crossing from the living to the dead. So the veil becomes thinner. And in that side, there's certain areas, let's say, like in the cliff path, when you journey through the cliff path and you go through certain cliff path, or people call them shells or gateways, there's certain areas, like you'll go to the cavern of Lilith, let's say. In the cavern of Lilith, you will taste that. Like it's in the air. You can taste kind of a metallic taste to that environment that you are in that area of the cliff off. Same thing when you work as a vampire, you're crossing into that dimension and you're starting to have that taste, because you're no longer just in this physical existence. You're now easing into the existence of the dead, or some would call the plane of the dead, or the realm of the dead. So
now, sorry, and then for the last 4 days, I mean, I've been so fucking hungry. Like, I mean, I think I woke up last night like 3 times just to fucking eat. And I'm not talking, like, I know that sometimes when I have certain possessions with certain spirits, I do crave meat more. But this type of hunger was like a non-stop, and it still is. It's a non-stop hunger, all day, all night. Like, I think I've gained a couple of pounds just because I'm so fucking hungry.
Well,
for shit, yo.
Well, that hunger, here's the thing. That hunger is not just, and you said it yourself, it's not just a hunger for food. What happens is when you become more vampire, your hunger becomes more for the life force, the life essence. It's a subtle essence that exists on this planet. Like I said, some call it the chi, some call it the prana. It's a subtle life force that is permeating this whole existence that we live on this planet. When you taste that, when you start to actually taste that, and it fills you up in a different way than food does. Food is more dense. This is not as dense when you taste that. It's a different kind of nourishment that invigorates and charges up every part of your body, from your cells to your brain to your liver. Everything is awakened and it begins to vibrate at a higher frequency. And the only thing that can really settle that hunger is when you feed off of that life force.
Yeah.
And that, therefore, your hunger tends to increase, and sometimes it will have you feel like you're eating a lot. You're eating a lot, but never satiated. You're not saturated enough.
Yeah.
That's because that's hunger is sometimes misinterpreted as a physical hunger, and it's not. It's a spiritual.
Yeah, I'm experiencing that.
Right.
Yeah, I'm definitely experiencing that. And I'm also having the Undead Gods speak to me last night. You know, I was falling asleep, and this is why I love this when I have that connection with them. That's why I don't know if it's APEP, because you said it could be just an undead god communicating with me, but yeah, it said to me, destroy him, 3 times in my ear. And I know when it's a deity, because it's not a spirit, it's not in this realm, it's like in a different dimension. Like it's strange. Like, I know when a deity speaks to me, but this was a dark. I've heard so many Goetic demons speak to me. A lot of them have different tones to them, but this entity was very dark and raspy. Yeah.
Yeah, and so I mean, those kind of communications, a lot of those communications we have to pay attention to sometimes. And the reason why is because, okay, I'll give you an example. And certain situations can occur in life, okay? Someone could disrespect you, someone could cross the line, violate you, someone can physically try to harm you or threaten you. What we have to understand is our old programming coming from the old paradigm, which is turn the other cheek and all these things, has to die.
Because let it go. Let it go.
On the left-hand path, we don't believe in turning the other cheek. If I do turn the other cheek, it's because I smack the shit out of you. See, there's a difference. Okay? What happens, we have to understand that there's nothing wrong with defending yourself, protecting yourself, and destroying someone who tries to violate you, who tries to disrespect you, or who tries to threaten your life. There's nothing wrong with defending yourself. We don't instigate. We don't go around trying to antagonize a situation or people, but it does happen where people will try to do that to us. By all means, sometimes when we hear this communication, it could be our true self communicating, the demonic self. And that demonic self, which some would call the super genius self, some call it the holy guardian angel, is not about that passivity. It's very aggressive warrior-like self. And sometimes it will whisper in our ears and communicate saying, yo, you gotta like destroy this person. You gotta do something about this, because unfortunately in this society, we're taught to be passive aggressive. A lot of us are taught to be passive aggressive, and that's a problem. The reason why you're taught that is because the more passive aggressive you are, the more I can control you. See, I don't have to worry about you because you easily will bow down or listen to what seems to be correct without questioning. That's herd and sheep mentality. However, what happens is if you are part of this left-hand path, the demonic self begins to awaken. The aggression, the aggressive side, the warrior side comes out, much like Lilith or Kali or Sekhmet as a female will come out of a woman more, because especially it starts to come out of a woman like that when they walk the left-hand path, because women in this society have always been taught to be passive and docile, and that's not what these goddesses represent, especially the dark goddesses. They represent the warrior aspect that people tend to suppress.
Yep, I agree.
You can't suppress this on this left-hand path, because once you start working there, everything you ever buried deeply about yourself or try to ignore or forgot is going to come to the surface. But with that is going to come anger, it's going to come frustration, is going to come sadness, is going to be depression. All that comes simultaneously because you're opening things that you have tried to bury and forget. But
very true, because I've been dreaming, and I dream a lot. Like I rely on my dreams heavily, because I dream and I lucid dream. But since I've been working with APEP and Set, I'll have dreams from even people that I've cursed coming into my dream, and I'm getting along with them. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? Why are you in my dream? Why are these old things coming back when I've already dealt with this shit, you know? But I've had in the last couple of what?
No, I'm happy you
said that. Is that what you're talking about? Like,
yeah, but here's the thing. If they come back, it means that it hasn't been fully dealt with. See, that happens quite often. We deal with it, but then we might not have dealt with it in the depths we're supposed to go. Do you understand what I'm saying? So if it comes out again, that means there's more to go. Remember this. When you think of an iceberg, when you see an iceberg, right? The little tip of the iceberg may look huge above the surface of the water, but in reality, it's small. It's that little tip of the iceberg is maybe, let's say, 10% of the whole iceberg. But underneath the surface of the waters is a large part of that is the subconscious mind. And even more vast amount of that is your unconscious mind. So here's the problem. A lot of times when we deal with issues of the past, we've only dealt with a little bit underneath the surface. Most of us, and I'm not saying you or anybody, I'm saying a lot of us do not go to the abyss of our subconscious mind. The abyss goes like straight deeper down than you could imagine. And what happens is, how do you know when you reach that abyss? I'll tell you. Here's an example. When the weirdest, craziest things you have never thought about all of a sudden surface. When the weirdest, primordial thoughts surface, you've reached it. When the weirdest, perverted thoughts come out, it's you reaching that primordial abyss.
I've had some experiences in my dreams that were very perverse, things are like, what the fuck? But I knew it was a dream, and I'm like, I have to deal with this shit. Obviously, something's going on here.
Exactly.
Okay.
And that's sometimes why some of those things resurface, just real quick, is remember, in this journey on the left-hand path, there's 3 key ingredients of this journey. There's your desire, which is related to your intent for performing a ritual in the first place. Your desire is everything. If you desire to master yourself and you're passionate about it, then it will propel you to accomplish that goal. But if you're half-assing it, you won't really get there. You'll get something, but you won't really get there. Okay, so a lot of your desire and intent is very important. Second is the actual energy itself. What energy you put behind it. Are you lackadaisical and blah, humbug, you know what I'm saying, kind of blah, when you do a ritual, then your energy's not really behind it. You get what I'm saying? It's like kind of, you're giving some energy, but you're not focusing all your energy behind it. However, the last and most important ingredient on the left-hand path, and this translates even past the left-hand path to any magical system in any path, is action. People do not take action enough. So, for example, sometimes things come up again in dreams, or situations come up again that we think we've dealt with, but they didn't because we forgot, and we didn't fully deal with it because we forgot the most important ingredient: action. So if something comes up in your dream, let's say, that was from years ago, and you thought, okay, I should be past this, action wasn't taken to make sure that you're past it. So let's say, for example, I'll just use this example. Your desire is to have pizza. You want pizza, a slice of pizza. You just love the pizza, right? And your energy is focused on finding the best pizza shop so I could just devour and taste that most wonderful slice of pizza, right? However, you never accomplished that goal because you never actually took the action to go inside of the pizza shop and actually buy the pizza and eat the pizza. So therefore, 2/3 of the ritual, or 2/3 of what you are expecting, only 2/3 was accomplished. You have 1/3 that is the most important ingredient for the full manifestation to occur. This is what happens a lot when people do rituals and a lot of shit pops up. It's good. Okay, it came up. You identified it. Okay, it's there, but they don't do something about it. And therefore, it keeps going back in and repressing itself, or suppressed. It goes back into that suppression or repression that we often do, and it comes back up later. And that is where the problems lie at. And the left-hand path is geared on bringing that up, but you have to take action to make sure you confront it and master it. Otherwise, it just keeps repeating itself. And each time it comes back up, it's going to come out even worse, or it can be more harmful, because the more things are repressed, when it finds its way back up, it's going to come with renewed energy and force that can cause even more chaos.
Yeah. Yep.
So that's like a pep. A pep, that's what a pep was known for, constant chaos. But here comes Set. And what does Set do? Set said, okay, you can't destroy the chaos.
Yeah.
You got to learn how to control the chaos. You have to master the chaos. So that's what Set became known as. The individuated consciousness is the ability to take your chaos and bring it under your order, not some mystical or kind of order and justice and righteousness. how many people think. No, it's your personal chaos. It can only be brought under your personal control, not some unified laws or harmonious laws to control the universe or bring everything united. That's bullshit. Only you can control your own personal chaos. But in order to do that, you got to understand your worst chaos and your worst self to really have control of everything else.
Yeah. Heavy shit, man. Heavy shit. It seems like it's always a cycle too, you know? It's always a cycle. You're always going through this stuff, always things being brought up. Like, but you know, I got this is what I got next, and I got this.
Okay.
Do you have this book?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. I just got this today actually.
That's so a good one. And then he has other good books. Father Sebastian, he has other good books that you can check out. The Purple Veils, the Sanguine. There's a lot of different ones that he's put out that are good.
You know what's funny, guys? Like if you look at, I just got this today. So you look at the vampire alphabet. It actually looks a lot like these sigils I painted on. Where'd she go? On Madame Kiss. Like right here. I didn't know what I was doing. I was just channeling, you know. Yeah. But it's very similar to some of these in here, which is I found pretty cool.
Well, like you said, it's bringing you further into the current, so it's gonna open you up to things.
Yeah. Okay, it's probably been an hour now. I don't want to keep you, Ravana.
Well, we can do this again when you're ready.
Yes. My viewers are gonna love this. Like they've been waiting for you. I've been hyping this up. So, so thank you so much.
We'll be in communication and see when we can do it again. Just let me know, and I will. Yeah. The next time, if you want to do it like this, we can invite your viewers to come on this. So I'll communicate with you on how to do that.
Oh, okay. Yes, I have to get a camera to stream. Yeah. To stream on my YouTube.
Yeah.
So yeah. Okay. I think so.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Let's do that. That would be awesome. Right. Wow.
So,
all right. Bye, everyone. Thanks, guys.
All right. Infernal blessing. You have a good one.